Good morning, this is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from the YouTube channel as I continue on my part series, the official sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season. It's part 65. Today I'll be talking about the 1999 Jacksonville Jaguars. This will be the final team I'll be talking about as far as the NFL teams of the 90s that didn't win a championship during that season. Now, this team definitely fits the bill because they were coached by Tom Coughlin, and Jacksonville was a pretty competitive team during the mid to late '90s. They were they were in the middle of trying to win a championship. This team that year '99 had a chance to win it all. They were 14-2, and it still stands as their best record in franchise history. It's probably absolutely their best franchise team ever. They won 14 games, lost only two. Wide receiver Jimmy Smith set a franchise record for most receptions, receiving yards in one season. They blew out the Dolphins 62-7, but unfortunately lost to the Tennessee Titans for the third time that season because they lost to them twice during the regular season, and they lost to them the third time, 33-14. This time in the biggest game of them all between the two teams, the Titans and the Jaguars, 33-14. So this team was loaded. They had 7 Pro Bowlers, Tony Baselli, tackle Leon Searcy, wide receiver Jimmy Smith, quarterback Mark Burnett was doing his thing. Like the poor man's Steve Young. Man, he could have been on our way to being a great player, but a Hall of Fame player, but it didn't happen. Tony Brackens, defensive end, Kevin Hardy, linebacker, Carnell Lake, free safety. They hired Don Capers, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, to be the defensive coordinator, and he went from being 25th in defense to number 4 in defense. And the Jaguars defense yielded the fewest points in the NFL, 217, and it was an average of 13.6 points per game. Now, however, Pro Football Reference claimed that the 1999 Jaguars gained the 5th easiest schedule of any NFL team at that time between 1971 and 2017. That's probably why they went 14-2, but either way, they had a great season. But their 2 losses were to, again, the Tennessee Titans. They lost to twice in the regular season and lost again for the 3rd time. Titans were the only team to beat them during the playoffs and during the regular season. So, let's look at it. And the Tennessee Titans were really good, man. They were 13-3. So, Tennessee Titans were no stars. They had Steve McNair and Eddie George. I mean, that's what it is. Now, before I get into the championship game and talk about what went wrong in that matchup against the Tennessee Titans at home in Jacksonville, we look at what they did against the Dolphins, where they won the divisional playoff game against the Dolphins 62-7, got off to a 24-0 start. The Jaguars defense forced 7 turnovers. It was one of the most lopsided NFL playoff games in history. The Jaguars went up 24-0 in the first quarter. They were up 41-0 in the second quarter. The highlight of this game was Fred Taylor, who was a big-time running back, very underrated running back. May not get in the Hall of Fame, but his credentials speak for himself. I'll check his stats. I think he had a lot of yards, at least over 10,000 yards rushing in his career. Had a 90-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. And this was the last game for Dan Marino and Jimmy Johnson for the Miami Dolphins during that time. Look at Fred Taylor's career stats. Yeah, he rushed for 10,000 yard rushing. He's part of that club. 11,695 yards. 66 rushing touchdowns. Fred Taylor. Pretty good career. 11,695 yards rushing. 66 yards rushing. Yeah, I think that's Hall of Fame worthy. In my eyes. Okay, so get back to what went wrong in this national championship game. Excuse me, the AFC championship game between Tennessee Titans, who were 13-3, against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's 14-3. What went, 14-2, had the best record in football. What went wrong? We're gonna get into that. It's wrong. Just want to double check and make sure that the Jaguars, is it true that they had the best record that year? Yep. They had the best record. They were 14-2. So no team during that time, that season, had the better record than Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's get into this NFC Championship game. Let's get into it. What went wrong against the Titans team that beat them twice during the regular season? What went wrong in this championship game? Okay, let's go. Hey, the Jacksonville Jaguars became the first team in NFL history to lose 3 games to the same team in the same season, with the third loss occurring as the home team. Every team until this point had lost a third game on the road. Now, even though the Titans had 4 turnovers, the Jacksonville Jaguars had 6, which proved to be their downfall. The Jaguars failed to score in the second half, in part due to the Titans' defense that forced 4 turnovers at the halftime. The game started to fall out of the Jaguars' reach when, in the third quarter, when the Titans up 17-14, Mark Brunell was sacked in the end zone for a safety. Then on the next play, Derek Mason returned the kickoff 80 yards for a touchdown, giving the Titans a 9 points in just 17 seconds. So that put them up 26-14. The Jaguars never recovered, and thus finished the season 0-3 versus the Titans, but 15-0 versus all remaining opponents. So that's the reason why they lost. They wasn't able to take care of the football. They have 6 turnovers, 4 of them that was forced by the Titans defense before halftime. You're definitely going to lose no matter how much they had the home field advantage. You have to play better on another level at home to take care of the football. So that's why they lost. But this was the best chance for the Jacksonville Jaguars to win it all. I mean, they had everything in place to win it all during that season. St. Louis Rams would win the Super Bowl that year, and that was the great show on turf. Kurt Warner took the lead by storm. The whole Rams team took the lead by storm. Nobody thought at that time that the Rams would be the great show on turf. That was unforeseen. that people didn't see this happening. They didn't see this coming. People didn't see that, okay, the Rams going to be this explosive, high-powered offense. I mean, nobody thought that was coming. Nobody knew nothing about Kurt Warner and his, what he was going to bring to the table during that year. How explosive they was going to be during that year. So, Jacksonville had a great chance to win the Super Bowl that year. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. That team definitely had a great chance to win, a championship. And that was their best team record-wise. Had home field advantage, their best team overall in the history of the franchise. If we go 14-2, we have home field advantage. It gets no better than that. So that includes part 65 of the professional sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season. It's part 65, the 1999 Jacksonville Jaguars. So that includes, talking about a team from the 90s that didn't win a championship. So tomorrow I'll start getting into the 21st century and talk about teams that during the 2000s decade that didn't win it all, or could have won it all but didn't. We'll get into that. Those teams start tomorrow in the 2000s decade. So subscribe to the channel, like, comment, do whatever you can, support. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.